Bang. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Let's Talk Rockets podcast. We are here. I think we're almost at episode 100. Haven't done one of these in 2 months, but Kevin bleeping Durant got traded to the Houston Rockets on Sunday afternoon. I was playing golf. I saw a text and I could not believe my eyes. And really the only thing people were saying was it was more so like, whoa, the Rockets traded Jalen Green than, oh my God, the Rockets got Kevin bleeping Durant. So I want to talk about a couple of things. I did a stupid space on Twitter. Nobody listened to it, nobody watched it, but I was just driving home and I wanted to talk about it. And now that some days have passed, let's talk about it. So here's the thing: Houston got really shafted last playoff just with their matchup. All right. The Houston Rockets, in my opinion, at least 100,000 billion percent, if they had played any other team other than like OKC, they would have gotten out of the first round. All right. That includes the Minnesota Timberwolves. They would have absolutely smoked them. Maybe not smoked them because it's the playoffs. But if you ask me unbiasedly, who was better last season, even though the Wolves went further, it was the Houston Rockets. The only thing this team truly was missing last year was a go-to piece. And when you go back and you watch some tape, you watch some film on their just series loss to Golden State, it's just so evidently clear. It was clear all regular season and, like close losses, maybe not in the regular season because guys would step up, but it was so evident in the playoffs, how they were guarding Jalen Green. He wasn't able to get too many open looks. Even when he wasn't knocking them down. And Jalen was supposed to be our guy who went out there and got a bucket when we needed a bucket. And unfortunately, in his Rockets tenure, that just didn't end up happening. And so the Rockets ship him, Dylan Brooks, the 10th round pick, and what was it, like 5 seconds, including one this season. Um, I'll be honest with you, man. Losing Dylan Brooks sucks just from like a culture standpoint, just because he really did a lot for Houston in the last few years. But now it is definitely time. You've got Kevin Durant, Amin Thompson, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr. You've got plenty of guys with similar skill sets that will long term, especially be upgrades over Dylan Brooks. So the defense was phenomenal from Houston last season. And, even though they did get rid of Dylan Brooks, there are so many young guys on this team. There's so many guys on this team that are phenomenal at defense. So Kevin Durant, to me, changes everything completely. This is a huge finals contender. In fact, I don't think the NBA media world is going to give Houston their flowers in the sense of, if you ask me, and like the NBA finals ended like 2 days ago and free agency and the draft haven't even started. If you were to ask me right now, on paper in a 2K series, at least the West Coast or the Western Conference Finals next season should be the Houston Rockets versus the OKC Thunder. And, we get another season of Amin Thompson. And even with that being said, I'm very curious what Houston is ultimately going to do for the rest of this offseason here. Steven Adams on an extension was huge. I just saw a rumor or report that Freddie Double V, Rockford's finest, they're going to decline his team option and they're going to try to extend him on a multi-year deal. I like it. I really don't mind Freddie Double V. I don't think he was the issue in any way, shape, or form. Like I know people were underwhelmed with his performance at times in the regular season, but the playoffs were exactly why you picked up Freddie Double V. There's rumors and some speculations about Kevin or about Kyrie Irving. I don't know. I'm not a GM. I don't know the gossip and all that kind of stuff in the NBA front office world. I I don't know. I think Kyrie Irving would be pretty incredible. I know I've seen a lot of Rockets fans talking about Drew Holiday. I'll even just look it up right now because off the dome, Drew's awesome. He's not what the Rockets need. The Rockets already have phenomenal guards. They have phenomenal defensive guards as well. And yeah, Drew really has regressed in the last 2 seasons over in Boston. He played 62 games last year, 69 the year before that. But look at this. His Boston tenure, he only averaged 11.8 points per game, only 4.4 assists per game as well, shot 39% from the field. Looks like, or sorry, 46% from the field, right on line. Holiday, especially if it means you're giving up. I have no bars of Wi-Fi, so I have to pause this. All right, sorry guys. I don't know why ever since I got back the other day, we have the absolute worst Wi-Fi. But in the meantime, I found this cool tweet here from my favorite Rockets Twitter account, Bordeaux. And this just really puts, all right, get out of here. This puts everything in perspective. When we first started covering the Houston Rockets on this channel, this was like actually a good lineup. The wow factor, as you can see there. Uh, John Wall, Victor Oladipo, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, Christian Wood. But obviously, Rockets fans, it got way worse than that. We were deploying like Justin Patton, Mason Jones, Amari Brooks. I mean, there were some dude. Garrison Matthews was getting huge rotational minutes. Like it really has been one heck of a journey. And real quick, thank you guys all for following this journey. I Oh my gosh, dude, I'm a freaking mess. This is what happens when you don't make a Houston Rockets video in 2 months. This is exactly what happens. You're a little discombobulated. I have to make sure this isn't episode 100 because I kind of feel like it might be episode 100. This also, and we do this on stream, the link's in the description. This is episode 99. Okay, awesome. So thank you all for being a part of this journey. Here's the projected 2025-2026 lineup. You got Freddie Double-V, Amin Thompson, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith-Jr., and Alperen Sengun. And then, we'll wait and see what happens with this bench. And then we'll wait and see, like Tari Eason, man. I sent a tweet out about him, and I kind of wanted to delete it because Tari and Jabari, but Tari Eason, especially to me, just his intensity and everything he provides whenever he's healthy and on the court. One more year of Tari Eason. I know, like, I believe Raphael Stone has outwardly said, hey, we're not trading, Amin Thompson, we're not trading Tari Eason. And so I can't wait for another year of Tari Eason because they have Kevin Durant now, and this is like a bench dude who will change a series. This is a dude who will literally change a series on his own. And then, Jabari Smith Jr., what an interesting NBA career he has had as well. He's super consistent in his 3 years. He only played 57 games this past year. He got benched right after, his injury. And, I guess career low in points at 12.2, 7 rebounds. Let's see what we got here. 35% from downtown, 44% from the field. Keep hitting the freaking mic. Apologies. I'm pretty excited about Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason for this upcoming season. I was hoping I was going to be able to find, there's that pick of like the whole Rockets squad. And I would like to just look at that really quick. The Rockets' future is this: Alperen Sengun, Amin Thompson, Jabari, Reed Shepard, Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, a 2027 first-round pick from Phoenix, a Brooklyn first-round pick in 2027 with a swap, and then they also have a Phoenix 2029 and or Dallas first-round pick. So very bright future. As far as the draft is concerned, I haven't done actually any draft prep. Obviously, I don't know if you guys even know the whole origin story to this channel, but I don't cover the NBA anymore. The only time I really actually watch the NBA is when the Houston Rockets play. Did catch a little bit of the NBA playoffs and especially the NBA finals, but the future is so bright, and I think it was highly touted as a deep draft, and we just saw this, man. We just saw this with Reed Shepard, this past season. We've been seeing it with Cam Whitmore the last couple of seasons, like, especially when you get into the playoffs, you're deploying like an 8 or 9 man rotation. And so having these Cam Whitmores and these Reed Shepards and, the possible or former 10th pick overall, these guys are those 10 to 15s on the roster are huge for the regular season. But then, like we saw with Reed and Cam Whitmore, they're too young, or they were too young, and the lineup, the roster was just a little bit too deep. So we didn't get to see these guys, get meaningful minutes in the playoffs. And it would have been the exact same thing with the 10th overall pick. So I'm super glad they leveraged it. I'll be honest with you, I'm once again not a huge like trade connoisseur. As far as the package goes, losing Jalen Green absolutely sucks from a fan's perspective. It really does suck because he was, the catalyst of the Houston Rockets revamped team. In the post James Harden era, their first draft pick, and Kevin Porter Jr. arrived via trade that season. before they got Jalen Green in the Harden year, and it was like, "Ooh, hey, whoa, what do we have here?" But then their first pick was Jalen Green, and at the end of the day, it is a business, and so, like, from a fan's perspective, once again, I never wanted to trade Jalen Green, but I just had that whole philosophy where it's like, "Hey, look, man, I'm not Raphael Stone. Raphael Stone knows way more than me. At the end of the day, I'm a fan. So I'm gonna root for my players. I'm gonna root for Jalen Green. I'm still gonna root for Jalen Green. But at the end of the day, he's no longer a member of the Houston Rockets, and Kevin Durant is. So it is what it is. I do think the Rockets just became legit. And the good news is we now have a full playoff, or at least a playoff round where these guys had, that playoff atmosphere. So KD, KD's gonna be the closer. All right. That's KD's gonna come in here for like and pretty much be like a way better Jalen Green. Not to be rude, but like it's just he's gonna be like if Jalen Green had turned into a star, that 25 point per game scorer, that 5 assist guy, shooting around 40% from downtown. KD is uber efficient. He's long, he's lanky. It's absolute money. But I was talking about the trade. Excuse me. It is what it is. Only one first round pick, and it was the 10th. I would have loved to like throw in, one of the 2027 picks or a 2029 first round pick and like try and keep a Jalen Green or a Dylan Brooks. But, you have to start thinking about money and also asking price. Like I saw the proposed trade from Minnesota. So, you have to outbeat them. I'm losing my voice. All right, much better. That's why we don't do. I guess that's man. I love doing lives. We're gonna do lives. Don't worry. But that's gonna be it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a little bit of a rant session on Kevin Bleeping Durant to the Houston Rockets. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be posting this on Spotify and Apple. The link's down below in the description. Throw it a 5-star rating if you don't mind, and we'll see you soon, man. Give me your grades and any thoughts and opinions on Kevin Durant to the Rockets, and we'll see you soon. Peace.